Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 6 of the Centre Circle podcast. Still joining me today, we've got Alex, Drew, and Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield Wednesday club captain Barry Bannan.
Cut.
I like to try and do it all in one take anyway. Okay then, Barry. So I understand at the moment you're in a hotel in London in preparation for tomorrow night's game at Brentford. So what would a typical match day be like nowadays, especially away? Would you be in contact with players on a regular basis, or do the club sort of encourage to limit that? Would you historically have sort of travelled down the night before for these types of games? And what impacts do you think playing behind closed doors has had for football, especially for the players?
Well, like tonight, we get on the bus and then you get down around 5 o'clock. You eat at 6:30. So you don't really see much each other the night before. And then the next day, there's routines, like you go on a walk, you'll have breakfast, but you're mainly just in your room. So especially with the social distancing and stuff, there's not much going on in the hotel. So it's quite boring and long days, but it's part and parcel of the job. We've done it for years, so we just get used to it, just watch loads of box sets and that. And luckily tonight there's Champions League football and that, so you keep yourself occupied with things like that. But yeah, behind closed doors it's not been great, to be honest. I think it's no fake, but I would say from me personally that even watching some of the Premier League games, I would say that playing behind closed doors with no fans, some of the results wouldn't have happened. I think, for instance, the Villa result against Liverpool at Villa Park, that would never happen if there was a crowd there. And then you get Leicester going to the Etihad and hammering Man City, which I don't think would happen either. So results are a bit weird, and I think a lot of that's down to the being no fans as well. But it's the same for both teams. But I would just think it's completely different, and from having fans in there and getting fans behind you or opposition fans taunting you and that, it's completely different. I remember we played Norwich when they were in tier 1 or something at the time, so we were allowed to play with 2,000 fans, and that's the only time we played in front of fans the whole pandemic, and it felt completely different. You were like, it's mental to say, but you were probably more concentrated than you would have been if there was nobody in there. Like if you get a bad pass away and there's no fans shouting at you, you can get over it a bit quicker and you relax a bit more. But I think players nowadays want that pressure and concentrate more when there's that pressure.
I think so, yeah. I think there's been more away wins in the Premier League this year than any other year before, and I think a lot of that might be down to the fact that there hasn't been fans there there's been no full stadiums for a long, long time now. Just touching on the no fans again. Do you think that some clubs, especially I think a lot of people point to West Ham. Do you think that having no fans has benefited some clubs and some teams that historically where the fans would get on the players' backs?
100%. I think you obviously got Liverpool, for instance, who rely on their fans, the cop and all that. It's been unreal, and they've had a bit of a downwards patch this season, probably.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we don't know, but a lot of that could be down to them not having the backing of their fans, because Anfield's a tough place to go, especially when you've got them fans behind them. And even Sheffield United, I think a lot of teams last season hated going to Bramall Lane. Their fans were a massive part of their success, I would probably say, last year. So a lot of it could be down to that, like teams that have got good crowds and passionate crowds. Obviously all fans are passionate, but you get some more that are more passionate than others. So I think the teams like your Liverpools, the Sheffield Uniteds, who else? Probably
I think we've struggled without fans. I think we've been one of the teams that really have struggled.
Yeah,
I would say Blues have as well, but we were shit before that.
It's like the little, like the little tight grounds and the hostile atmospheres. It's harder to go and get victories there. But yeah, I would say fans have been it's been really hard, especially our fans as well. Our fans are brilliant. We've missed them, especially going away from home as well, where they don't stop singing. So we've missed our fans. I know that for a fact, and a lot of teams have been the same boat, and it's probably affected them results in the pitch.
Definitely, yeah. I think as well, just like you said, touching on Liverpool, I mean, some of the sort of the Champions League matches that they've sort of gone deep into that competition. I think that was it a couple of years ago where they were like sort of well beaten by Barcelona at home. A couple of days later, they go and turn it around completely. I think that sort of stuff you're just not going to see without that sort of the fans on sort of on your side. And I think it is affecting football massively. And I think as well, the tempo of matches when you're watching, I think some games I'm watching, I think that's going to be a good game, but kind of without, if you're up against it and someone's breaking out, normally you've got the crowd urging you on, moving forward, and you haven't kind of got that, have you? I mean, I've had to cope with that all my life in non-league football, Baz, so I know how hard it is, but, how is it for you not having that sort of, when you need that sort of, that 12th man, when it's 1-1 or 0-0 and you need that extra goal at the end?
Definitely. I think like you said, where it's similar to playing a 11v11 behind closed doors, really, like playing a training game or something against the reserves or something, like when you used to be younger, but obviously your livelihoods are on the line, so it's a bit more than that because it's against another team, obviously. But sometimes the game does go like that. It gets stretched when normally it wouldn't, when there's fans there. You've got people attacking and forgetting that like it's a proper game. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's complete. I think there's a big difference, and everybody wants the crowd in. That's why we're here to play. We're here to entertain, and the sooner they're back, I think the better for everybody involved in this one.
Definitely. Now, recently, I know that you kind of went back to where it all started in Airdrie. Sort of, you showed us a little bit about where you kind of grew up in your flats, and so how do you think that sort of molded you as a player? Because I don't know about yourself, but when I was a kid, I just got sent out as soon as the sun come up, and I came back when the sun went down. Whereas I look around now, and you don't ever really see kids playing football in a park anymore. It just always Xbox this, and like, how big of a part was that for you growing up?
Yeah, well, that's all we knew. I didn't know anything else really. We were brought up. I was brought up with my brothers in the same flat, and there was loads of kids that lived in the same block. So we were out we get back from school at like 3:30 till 9:30, 10 o'clock, sometimes at night. And we would only go in when we got shouted in by our mums. And that was not all the time playing football, but it was playing hide and seek or smashing snowballs and stones at windows. Just
in the summer.
being out and playing with each other really was what we were brought up with. But I think it's changed now. Obviously, social media playing a big part in that. I think you've lost that kind of grassroots side of things where I learnt my football out in the street. It got me to where I got to because obviously I was playing for clubs and that, but at that age you just play the way you've played on the streets. So that luckily got me to where I wanted to be, and then I got coached from there on inwards. But I think nowadays you've got people getting into academies and they've probably not played anywhere near as much as we did when we were younger.
Yeah.
It's all like you're getting coached for a young age now, when probably looking back, I preferred enjoying my football in the streets before I went to an academy. I held back going into an academy for probably 3 or 4 years. I could have went to Celtic when I was back up in Scotland, but I just kept playing Sunday League and Saturday, and I loved it. And I didn't really want to go to the academy until I was kind of forced with my parents to move down to England.
Yeah.
Was there anyone sort of early in your career that you'd look back on and you'd point to, and whether it was a coach at when you were at Celtic Boys, or even just a local team that you played for when you was younger, or when you got your break at Aston Villa? Is there ever anyone in particular that you'd like to point back to and say they were a really, really good coach, and they've never really got the recognition they deserved.
I think the ones at Aston Villa were the main ones. Obviously, my Sunday league coach done everything for me. Like, used to pick me up because we didn't drive. He used to come out his way, pick me up, take me to the game, bring me back. So that got me to where I was, and I wouldn't have been here without him obviously doing that, because that's how I got scouted. Really, I was at his club in Villa. Had a scout that used to come and watch them. So he played a big part at a young age. But I think the Villa coaches were brilliant for me. They were Scottish, which obviously helped as well. But I think there was a lot of questions over my height and my physicality when I came down to England and was playing youth team and reserves and that. But they always let me know that it wouldn't be a problem as long as I kept working hard. And it could have been easy for me to like listen to the doubters and just give into it, but they kept me going really, and just made me work harder than most people on the pitch, and that kind of outweighed the physicality and the height side of things.
I mean, I remember, I think just sort of going back to sort of management of yourself in the academy, I remember certain games, in particular Blues, where Villa just sort of took the stance that we're not going to play Baz because he'll just get kicked in the air for 90 minutes and we just don't want to risk him taking a serious injury. And how important do you think stuff like that was, that Villa sort of took that stance and not just gone, let's see how he copes with the physicality? And
yeah, it was good, but obviously at that time I was raging as well because I wanted to play every game. But
yeah, Villa Blues as well.
When you look back at it now, it was it's good coaching, because them games were more physical than any other games that we would play on the Saturdays. So it was probably good coaching from him at that time. But me being me, I wanted to play obviously and see what it was like. But Tony McAndrew, Kevin McDonald, Sid Cowans and all that, Brian Jones and people like that at the time were brilliant for me because they managed me really well, and they had me in the gym when I would never ever go in the gym, and never made me strong, but they made me stronger than I would have been.
Yeah.
And made sure that I'd done it, when if it was left to my own devices, I probably wouldn't have ever done it.
Yeah, because Villa actually pulled you out of school, didn't they? And you started playing or training full time from being a boy, really, didn't you?
I think I started going in at like 15, 16 and training full time. I'm doing Tuesday, Thursdays in the day and then training on that night as well. So that helped me as well, because I got used to the physical side quicker than most of the boys that were in my team, because I was getting an extra 2 days on them a week at training with the bigger and older boys. So that helped me a lot. Obviously being in and around it, and then when I had to go in full time fully, I was already part of the furniture and was already settled.
So going back to Blues, you've still got your fair share of goals against us, haven't you? Over the years, I think.
I actually don't ever score. It's always against Blues.
Against us, I know. I think you scored one this season, didn't you?
I got a penalty this season, and last season I scored as well. But I don't know. It's only at St Andrews as well. I wouldn't mind scoring at Hillsborough against them like that.
Well, you love to give it to our fans, don't you?
To be fair, I can repeat some of the things that I've heard at St Andrews. So
yeah.
it's all.
It's just
a reaction.
How much are you looking forward to the Euros this summer?
I can't wait. They've done unbelievable to get there, to be honest. I can't remember 96. I think that was the last time they were there, but I can't really remember much yet.
98 World Cup, I think.
Was it 98? Yeah.
Yeah, FIFA 98. You played France first game.
We played.
It was always the first game on the video game.
Was it?
Yeah. Scotland, France.
Yeah. I can't really remember much of that. But this, if I think there's crowds allowed in, so I'll try and get to some games if I'm in the if I'm not on holiday. But I can't wait for the Scotland-England game. That'll be brilliant. Hopefully we can win, and because if we don't, I'm sure my phone will be getting absolutely paid.
Who's the best player you've ever played against?
I'd probably say I've played against the fullback and I didn't really like it because it was Ashley Cole, because he was quicker, and like I wasn't really a wide player. I've never really been a wide player. I've always been a wide player, but would play inside. But I just remember playing against him and Jordi Alba for Scotland, and the two of them were rapid. Kyle Walker, another fullback. Just any fullback with pace, really, that's you don't really want to be playing against, and they never stop running. But I think midfielder would probably be David Silva, probably, when I was at Villa. He was just basically my strengths are turning, and I can normally turn a lot quicker than people, but he was 10 times better than all of my top strengths, which I found really weird, because normally when I play against people, I'm smaller and more quicker on the turn than that, but he was the exact same but better.
I've heard a lot of professionals who throw a shout out that I don't really get, but it's Sissoko for Tottenham. I've heard that you can't get near him.
I don't know. I think I played against him actually when he was Newcastle at Villa Park one night. He just signed for Newcastle, and I remember he hit me, and I've hit the floor and I had a grasp on just underneath my eye from just him shoulder barging me. But I can't really remember him being like unbelievable. I remember this one might be a bit of a weird one because he was a top player, but I'd probably don't get as much credit as I thought Moussa Dembele at Tottenham was unbelievable.
That I was going to say, that was my next question. Moussa Dembele, I've always loved him.
Pulled off at half time when I was at Crystal Palace, and I think Pardew took the job, and I played the cup game against Dover in his first game, got man of the match, so I played the first league game under him. It was against Spurs. I think I got booked in the first half. We were drawn 0-0 and I got dragged at half time. And half of me was thinking, thank God, because he was unreal. He was actually unbelievable.
He just glides past players, doesn't he? Like, he's not that fast, but he just glides past players.
He was massive, like so strong, but he had the same change of direction as me, and he was like taller and stronger. So he was unbelievable.
Best stadium you've ever played in? Other than Hillsborough.
Yeah, Hillsborough's right up there. Wembley, probably. Probably Wembley.
The new or old, Baz?
The new one. I'm not your dad's age. I didn't even think I was alive.
not down in 1999.
You could have played some schoolboy stuff. I don't know.
Jump the fence. Probably the new Wembley. Dortmund Stadium's lovely. Played there against Germany. The Emirates, Old Trafford, but I'd probably say Wembley was the best one.
What was the atmosphere like at Dortmund? Because like it's just touted around Europe, and it's just the best place to play football.
Yeah, well, we played the German national team, and that Great Wall thing, it was obviously not as good as when the Dortmund fans are there, but it was quite on top of you. As much as it's a massive stadium, they're really close to the pitch, so it's a bit intimidating, but it was good.
Yeah.
Who's next?
That's I think it's been a smashing interview, to be honest. So what I would like to say, Barry, is very, very much thanks for your time. Thanks for coming on. We'd really appreciate it, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me.
Cheers,
I've
mate.
enjoyed
Cheers,
it.
mate.
Top, mate.